What's up, Executive Vipo? I'm here. We're here. I'm going to turn this music down a little bit because today I'm going to actually treat this as a pre-recorded video. This will likely go out on the YouTube side. I'm still recovering from yesterday, a 5-hour live. I actually wasn't planning on going live today, but I woke up, I don't know what time I woke up, but I woke up this morning and then was up for a couple hours and then fell back to sleep. And when I fell asleep, I had this interesting and somewhat traumatizing dream. And as I was trying to wake up, I was like, this is so crazy that I got to share this one. And I know that I wouldn't be able to share it as well tomorrow or something, a couple days later. So I'm like, let me share while it's fresh on my mind, because I'll probably convince myself it's not that interesting. I'm gonna give y'all some visuals. Y'all know I like to give the visuals. Okay, so I'm gonna share this story time of it's a dream I literally just had, and I wanted to share it while it was fresh on my mind. So, giving a little background, this dream started at my house. However, it wasn't my actual house. This was a house of a relative on the block I grew up on. So for those of y'all on Patreon, I'm going to show y'all, because y'all know the stories. So this dream took place here on, y'all already know, that's my granny's house. Well, used to be my granny's house right here. It took place in my uncle and aunt's house. So in the dream, this was my house and I was working in the yard. And okay, I'll do it this way. So this was my house, and I'll do it. I'm trying to think of how. What I'm trying to do is produce it in my head and tell the story. So it's like a little more complicated in the way I just talk over here with y'all on Patreon by myself. For just talking, kitchen table talk purposes, it don't matter. Okay, so back to the story time. So in this dream, I am working in my yard. And then for some reason, I end up under the porch. And I'm not exactly sure why I ended up. I think I was planting flowers or something. And somehow I end up under the porch and I start hearing a buzzing noise. And the buzzing noise, at first it caught me off guard and I thought it was like a bee buzzing around my ear. But then I realized it was like a toy sounding buzzing machine sound. And I look in the corner while I'm still under the porch. I look in the corner by one of the pillars and I see this black ball. And it looked like a Pokemon. Like when I saw it, I was like, this is like that black Pokemon ball, because it was a black ball, but on the tip it had, I think, like silver circles on the tip. And I think it had a red band in the middle. But this also had like little plastic wings that were fluttering really quickly. And that's why I was hearing the bzzz kind of sound. When I looked at it, I'm like, what is this? And how did it get under here? And it's like a kid's toy, and it's kind of like nestling at the top near the ceiling of while you're under the porch or the joist. So then once I catch it or see it, it then flies out of from under my porch and flies out and flies in the sky, almost like a drone. And it hovers a little bit, and it's kind of like it almost following me. And then I'm like, okay, somebody's controlling this thing. What the hell is it? So then I see it fly across the street. And here, because in this dream, I know where the neighbors live. I don't know them, but I see where all the action takes place. So it flies from my porch, from under here. I don't know how I got under there. I don't even know how I got under there. And then it flew over here towards these townhomes over here. It flies over here and then kind of disappeared. That's as far as I could see. I couldn't see exactly where it was going besides it went over there. So then I noticed coming from that direction. So now in my mind, I'm like, somebody's like spying on me. And this has to be some adult, like somebody spying on me, and I don't know why. What's happening? Next thing I know, I see coming from that direction is like a drone, a regular drone. And it comes back over to me and it's hovering over my yard and it's kind of taunting me. And I'm like, who is this? And so I go on my porch and I'm like, I got my tools on the porch, the rakes or whatever. And so I'm trying to find something long and heavy enough that I could try to swing at it and knock it down. But before I could do that, all of a sudden my attention goes to this white. It almost looked like, you know how they have the when the roads are blocked or they're telling you slow down, and they have those. It's like a white sign holder, but it has wheels, or the ones that tell you your speed to remind you to slow down in a school zone or a construction zone. But it's got wheels. You can tell they can attach it to a trailer and wheel it around. It was one of those things, but it was remotely controlled. And then all of a sudden it started coming from where those townhomes were across the street towards my house. And it's just doing its own thing, not paying me no attention. And I'm like, this thing is coming. Who is sending this over here? And then it comes and goes on the side of my house. And I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this bull. Who is this? And so I'm like, I know how I'm gonna find out who this is. I'm gonna destroy their machine. And so it goes on the side of my house, and I have a fence, so it couldn't get in the backyard. It just stopped. So then I was like, I want to knock it over, but I don't want it, when it's knocking over, I don't want the camera to catch me because I don't want them to know who did it. I just want them to know their machine is down, and hopefully they come in, then I can figure out who it is. So I decide to push it forward so that it just topples over. And I do that. Then I kind of go about my business in the yard, still trying to see, what's happening. And then like an 8 to 9 year old little boy comes from across the street. He's now crying, talking about, you messed up you broke my toy. Why did you break my toy? Like now he's fussing at me like he threw a ball in my yard and I busted open or something, stabbed it. And I'm like, you were sending these things over here and you're invading my privacy. You can't do this. So I'm scolding him. I'm fussing at him, trying to, tell him this is not innocent fun when you're affecting like someone, etc. And so while I'm doing that, a 12 or 13-year-old girl shows up, and she then comes from across the street. You can tell she's the older sister. And so she comes, and when she comes, she's like a little sassy, like a little, like she's trying to be a little grown woman. And she starts trying to curse me out, like, why you messing with my brother's stuff? And blah, blah, blah. Like no scolding of him for the fact that he is messing with this older man from across the street. And so I start telling her the same thing about he was invading my privacy. Like you can't, start messing with your neighbors like this. This is not cool. This is not okay. And so these are the consequences for doing things like that. Now, the thing wasn't broke. It was just tipped over. So the girl is still going on. She ain't listening. She doing this sassy thing. Y'all see now, we see a lot of videos on social media now of how these teenagers and students are confrontational with the teachers and stuff. It was that kind of energy. And I think this was in my dream because I've seen so many of those videos recently. And I'm like, there is no way I could be a school teacher nowadays because I have to put my hands on these kids, which I've seen some of them do as well. So I'm trying to talk with her while she's fussing, like she ain't really listening. Next thing you know, from coming down the street, the opposite direction, it's obviously one of her friends, one of her teenage friends. This friend is even worse. This friend kind of like on the hood side. So the friend is walking up and said, what this do to you? Do to y'all, blah, blah, blah. And so she then joins in and she starts physically threatening me. Like, I'll beat your mother ass, you da-da-da, and this and that. And so she going off. It then hypes up the other girl to start going in. Now, the little boy, I don't know where he at this point. I'm concentrating on these two because I realized that it looks like they getting ready to try to both attack me at the same time, where it's going to be, harder to defend myself if I got it coming from every angle. So I'm now this ain't just me as a grown man talking to some kids. Now I'm like, I might have to handle them. And so as I'm doing that and they're kind of coming up on me, I decide to, do more of a defensive thing. And so I start backing up towards my porch to go up the steps. My plan was, because it's two of them and, ain't no telling, they might be able to get the best of me just because it's two of them. I then decide I'm gonna grab a weapon, like I'm gonna grab, one of my tools off of the porch, a stick, a rake, a sledgehammer, whatever I got to grab. And so as I start to I'm backing up, but I'm walking backwards up the steps. And they still going in, and the hood one, she really like, I'm a da da da, like she really like she ready to swing. So she didn't hype the original girl up so much, who looked like she just would have been all lip and then would have went about her business had that other friend not came up. So she didn't got bold, she didn't got confident. So she decides I think she pushed me once. I kind of let that slide, but I'm like, okay, don't be putting your hands on me. We're not going to do it, blah, blah, blah. Then she tried to do it again, and she was going to try to do it harder. So I muffed her. I muffed her in the head. Well, when I muffed her in the face, she fell backwards down the steps, and she fell like, I don't know, 3 to 5 steps backwards. She falls on her back, and then she starts to cry like a little baby. Now she's a little innocent girl again. Now it's like this grown man done attacked me kind of thing. Y'all know how it is. Y'all know how some of y'all women do the same thing. They'd be swinging on men and stuff, and then when they finally pin you down or something, you the innocent one. So they end up running off, and the hood girl is like, you hit my friend, blah, 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 all that. So now they run off back to where they originally came from. I'm now in my yard. I'm still like, now I think I'm collecting my stuff or whatever. Next thing you know, this is a story, y'all. Next thing you know, and it's not real life, but it felt like it. Oh, it felt like it. Next thing you know, I see a older lady coming from across the street. And she's coming from across the street, and it's her with a man with her. So this woman, she was like in her late 50s or so. She reminds you of somebody's auntie who can really cook, but she also had like a cane. So she was really kind of walking slow. And it looked like, whatever her ailment was, you could tell it came from diabetes. It was just like, oh, she got diabetes. Like this was got her crippled at this young age, because she just looked like she can cook and stuff. So you had her, and then you had the older man who you could clearly tell like they were a couple. This older guy, he was in his 60s, and he was a little slower, but he was, no cane or anything like that. So I'm noticing them slowly approaching, like from walking across the street, like kitty corner, and just the way their intention and their walk, I could tell that they were coming to me. And I could tell, although I knew they were coming towards me, it wasn't like, it seemed like they were calm. It seemed like whatever they were coming to investigate what happened. And they seemed more like the grandparents of those kids than the actual parents. Like they seemed like they were like guardians. I don't know. I just got a vibe. I don't remember no parts of the dream where we talked about that, but it just felt like the energy was, those weren't their kids. Those were like their grandkids or something, but they had custody of them. So we're talking, and then we go on my porch, and they're asking me basically what's happening. Now it's still accusatory, like why you do this kind of thing. And I'm trying to have a conversation with them, and I'm explaining everything that happened. It's sent this spy thing to that was under my porch while I was working, and then a drone, and then he sent something that wheeled across the street over here trying to, all of that. But while we're having this conversation sitting on the porch, another couple comes up, and they came from a different direction, and they were like in their 30s, late 30s or early 40s. So the couple, they're walking, I see them walking up in my yard, walking up the sidewalk, and they come up the steps, and I could tell they're with the older couple. And I'm like, okay, now they got backup, but I could tell that they weren't the parents. And they were, they were dressed well and all of that. The males seemed cool, but as they were sitting there, like as they got in the presence and they were having conversation with the original couple, I could tell that the guy was supposed to be the muscle. So it was almost like, if it go down or when it goes down, we gonna give you the green light and you gonna stump this. It felt like that kind of energy. Although he didn't threaten me any of that. However, what I felt like was I still had a small chance because of just the way he presented himself. He didn't come aggressive. He almost came like, I'm trying to figure out what's happening. I do know that I've been called because this older couple is my family, and the older guy know he probably can't handle you because he's a little older. So he calling me because I'm younger. So I'm gonna see what's happening, but I'm ready, kind of thing. It was that energy. But I still felt, based on his energy, that I had a small chance that maybe with my side of the story and some logic and some reasoning, that he would be fine. Like, we might be good. The next thing you know, we're now, it's the four of the two couples and myself. We're all sitting on the porch and we're conversing. But slowly, while we're conversing, more family members started to show up. And it was like maybe one person, another male in his 40s, another a young girl in her 20s, then maybe a man in his 60s. And it's almost like it became a family reunion to come to my house to confront. And what I could tell from the energy of all of the people who are arriving was they all knew that they were coming to confront me. And it was a lot of them. And so the next thing I know, at first it was kind of like everybody's coming, they're coming on the porch and everybody's trying to figure out what's happening. Then the next thing I know, people are starting to go in my house to get plates of food because some way mysteriously there was a barbecue at my house that I knew nothing about. It was like some potluck barbecue that, not even potluck, because the matriarch who was a part of the first couple who approached me, the older couple, somehow she had made all her famous dishes, and I didn't barbecue. Somebody had barbecued, and the people were coming over to basically have a picnic, if you know, like the traditional real origins of the word picnic. And I was the dessert. So they were coming to hang out, family reunion, and then they was gonna stump a nig at the end. And I was that. I was the nig. So, but it took me a while to realize. Now, at first, at this point, I'm feeling defenseless because how I'm gonna stop a mob of 30, at that point it was 30 something people, and they just helping themselves to walking in my house. Like, we're all family, but I'm getting my ass kicked at the end of this. It was that kind of energy. So they were very familiar and all of that acting as far as just going in and out my front door or coming on the porch, sitting down, having a seat. People were going in and then they would come out with their plate and sit down. Now, meanwhile, I'm on the porch being grilled by everybody there. Why you do this? And you know, how long you been living over here? You know, all that. You don't even look like the type that live over here. Where you grow up at? Like all that. And then they got plates of mac and cheese, baked mac and cheese and barbecue ribs and all that. And then one person was coming out like, ooh, I love her famous mac and cheese. And for whatever reason, mac and cheese, now there was other food, but for some reason the mac and cheese stood out and everybody had the mac and cheese. Baked mac and cheese. And baked mac and cheese happens to be my favorite dish. So I don't know what that was about. Y'all know dreams are crazy. So I don't know. So the more people that started to arrive, it was very clear to me, as I said, this was a picnic. and I was at some point it was going down. Like for me, at a certain point, I realized I can't convince all of these people not to beat my ass. You know how crazy, we all got crazy family members. We all got some family members that once you get them on 10, you can't bring them back down. And based on the story being told and however it was told to these people, that now I had maybe jumped on their baby cousin or their nephew or whatever, that's the energy they come in, like I'm abusing children kind of thing. So the more they started to arrive, I'm like, okay, I got to do something. I have no defenses at this point. So the first thing I tried to do was disarm the situation, calm it. So I tried to take control of the situation. One person versus 30 or 40 people. And I'm like, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. So somehow I convinced the group to leave the porch and just leave the original two couples, the older couple that showed up first and that second couple who came later. Because the second couple was more like the voice of reason and almost like maybe what the older people wouldn't understand, maybe in about what a drone is or how they invaded. It wasn't just innocent fun play, because to fly drones in somebody's property is very invasive. Like, they would understand those pieces, and how I didn't know if it was a grown person or what. And I didn't at that point until the little boy came across the street. Before that, I'm thinking it's some grown person trying to invade my privacy because of the type of technology he was using. So I wanted them to stay too, to help balance it all out. So everyone agrees. 30-something people leave the porch. They didn't leave the premises. Some went in the house. Some went in the front yard and was just standing there talking. Some went wherever. And so now it's just, again, the two couples sitting on the porch. And we're talking, don't remember what we was talking about, but we're still talking about the situation. Slowly, though, the people start creeping back on the porch. And it gave the energy, you know how like you watch a mob movie, or like if any of you have watched The Shy, and they have their the muscle people who are at the meetings with the drug kingpins, and they don't talk or nothing. They just, let the right people in and pat the people down and then let them have a discussion. But they sit there with their arms crossed the whole time with their sunglasses on, just monitoring and ready for it. And as soon as it jump off, they in. It was that energy that the people started to have as they were coming back. And it was the energy of, let me know when you're ready to jump this. It was that energy as they all came back on. Like, just let me know when you're ready to jump and we ready. So I was petrified. I just knew I had no chance. It was too many of them. And when that didn't work, because my goal was to get them off the porch, get them out of the conversation, heal the situation with the two couples. They will then reason with all their relatives and say, okay, he cool. We're not going to do nothing. We just going to keep invading his space and eating. We're just going to keep walking through his house and all that, but we ain't going to beat him down too. So when that didn't work, I now am scared because, not only was, first I'm sitting by myself, and then I'm sitting in the chair by myself, and then one couple was on one side of the porch, and then the other is directly across from them sitting. I have no idea why I had sofas on my porch, because I'm not ghetto like that. I'm not no country bunkin', so you will not catch my living room furniture out on my porch. And this wasn't like lawn furniture. It was like real sofas and stuff, because that stuff was comfortable. I do remember that. But so I was sitting in some chair, but at a point, my chair converted to a love seat or a sofa. And one of the guys who made his way back onto the porch after I had safely gotten everyone off the porch so I could hopefully calm the situation, he works his way back in with the other people who were slowly working their way in. And he plops right next to me, and close, almost like, yeah, I'm gonna be the one that's gonna choke you up while they start beating you. Like, I'm gonna be the first one when they give me the signal. Like, I'm gonna be the first one that just grab you like this real quick. It was the energy. He ain't say it, but it was the energy. So I'm like, oh Lord, I'm really trapped. And then there was somebody else on the other side of me, but I don't remember that person. I just remember this one particular person, this one particular guy, because at a point I was like, I gotta get some help. I can't get up and call 911. That was a thought, but there's no chance they were letting me go anywhere. Then I was like, okay, well, I have my phone. It was so many people on the porch at that point that they were also starting to have conversations amongst themselves. But it was kind of like, they're mingling as a family, waiting until they're going to take me out. And so while nobody is really paying me that much attention, except for the guy next to me, who's just guarding, I'm trying to use my phone. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to get some help from my people to counterbalance their people. So I said, in my mind, I'm thinking I ain't going to be able to start texting a bunch of people. I knew I couldn't call anyone, but I was like, I could secretly start texting. But I was like, I'm not going to get that much time with peace. And this guy literally sitting so close to me, he could just glance over and see what I'm doing. So I was like, I got to be able to send mass messages really quick. So I said, the idea came to me to send a message to my family Facebook group. I was like, if I send it there, and the crazy part of the family, where those people at, and I was like, okay, if I send it there, A lot of them live out here. Probably in 15 minutes or so, I'll have me a good 20 people here at least to try to balance some of this out. So I said, and then I was like, I know what to do because I couldn't do a lot of typing either. So I said, I'm going to sneak a video and a picture of all these people around me and let them know this a group of people about to jump me. I need y'all now. So I safely video the situation. So I'm holding my phone close to my lap, but I'm kind of holding it close to my lap, but then kind of circling the room or the porch like this so they can see all angle. Like these Negroes are all across all the walls. It's standing room only. It's standing room only. Help! So I safely do that. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send this to my Facebook group. And then it occurs to me also, I said, okay, I also have my crew that y'all hear me talk about a lot, my crew of friends. So I was like, one of them is in law enforcement. And overall, they're resourceful. I ain't gonna say more resourceful, but they're resourceful. And I was like, I gotta let them know too. Now them, I can just send a quick text message. So all of a sudden, I'm trying to do that, and my Patreon app is up. And y'all have heard me talk about a bunch of times how glitchy the Patreon app is. And so I'm trying to close it so that I could get to my Facebook group Messenger to be able to message my family. And it's letting me do everything under the sun, like all kind of other apps I had open. I'm able to swipe through those. I'm able to close those, but I could not get rid of the Patreon app. Part of it felt like I was anxious and nervous and forgetting how to it. Like it seemed like at a point I was forgetting how to close my apps so I could get to where I need to get to. And then by the time I think I was like, it's not me. I can't get this to close, and they're about to get on me. And so long story short, that's literally where my dream ended. I started waking up slowly, and I was like, oh, that's a dream. I don't know why though. When I have dreams and I'm in like dangerous situations, I'm never able to escape ever. I don't know what that is. I would love a person who is mindful or knows how to interpret dreams. What does that mean? Like if I'm in a fight, I've been in fights in my dreams where, like I'm fighting an invader or something and they came in the house or chasing me down or something. And I'm literally hitting them, but my punches are like pillowy or something. Like they're not, it's like I'm putting on my strength, but I can literally tell when the punches land that they aren't powerful. And I'm like, I'm trying to get more power in my swing, like all that. I don't know what that is, but that's the end of the dream. That's how dreams. I'm sorry. I know it's no big climactic end, but that's how dreams work. So I don't have. That's it. That was the whole dream. I never escaped. I don't know what happened. I might be getting stomped right now in the dream world. I have no idea. But yeah, that's the dream. What else I have on here?